It's time to crack this out. I'm not quite sure I'm ready for it, but here's what's happened previously. Figuring out the steels, and I've been drinking whiskey. That's my Gable frame. Steels going in today. Hopefully I've done it all right and them measurements were bang on. This has to stay. I don't like it, but it's just one of them things. We're going to need to weld on an additional plate out here to take the window. I think I better get someone else. I've got Lou's brother coming to help me do some lifting, basically. I need to do some prep work before, so I've got the rest of today and I've got tomorrow. I decided the steels I would plate. I left it about 15 mil, 10-15 mil off the back of the blocks because this is like a vertical damp course, so any moisture that gets in this way, it will just track downwards. The plate that's been welded on, I've set that off 30 mil off the front of the block. That was on the basis of some origin windows that I was going to get, but I've ended up with a different brand, so they will be a different thickness. And at the time of setting that plate, I didn't know that you had to set your doors and windows 30 mil back into the cavity. I don't really have a cavity, do I? There is a cavity between this and the outer wall. There is a gap between this and the outer wall. There is insulation on the other side of this. There is a gap between this and that, but there's only 10 mil. Should I be setting back my things 30 mil into the cavity when there's not really a cavity? In which case, if there isn't a cavity, why have I put this in? Why have I done that? Because I was thinking of grinding that plate back so I can sit it back further, but I need to be a bit more pragmatic about things. I'm just going to have a massive cold spot down there, aren't I? All this netting, let's just start the stupid fucking pigeons coming in. When I was on holiday, look, they got in shitting on the floor, you little fuckers. I didn't want to beam on this at all, but the structural engineer said that I needed it unless the window company said otherwise. I needed a plate welded to take this. It's that size because that is the size of that one up there, as per the structural engineers. It was meant to take block work, but the brickies said that they couldn't do it on there, which I don't believe because I've seen it done before. And then on top of that plate, I'm going to sit this. So this is a 4x3. I don't know whether this is going to work out. I'm only going to have it sat back 15 mil. The fixing that I need to put through is there, which is 40 mil in. So the fixing will be fine. I didn't need to put this in at all, in which case I'm going to cut out most of it. And we will get to see whether my measurements are correct. They better bloody be. That's why I plated the top as well in wood. I didn't necessarily need to, but I just felt better doing that. So if it's too big, then I can always take that out if I need to. But I can't do anything about the width. But that shouldn't be an issue. None of it should be an issue. I've done the measuring, so it should be right. Yeah? Morning. No, it's afternoon now actually. It's just gone 12. I've been up since 8 o'clock though. So I've been getting my head around this. Also had to get my compressor out the back of the container, and I've been tool station as well to get a load of screws. This is almost prepped. My cut-off disc, it goes about 90mm deep, and then that worked out pretty much perfect because I'm going 150 insulation off of here, which will come up to there, but I'm also planning on putting some like EPS underneath, maybe like 10 or 20mm, just to bump it up a little bit more, so I can get insulation on there. I'll have the 25mm upstands, so I won't have any cold bridging on this particular one. I will on the others, but I didn't think of cutting it back like I did on this one. I grind back these so I can get, when I fit the seal, I put these packers on. So this, I make sure it's completely flat. I will be using the expanding foam tape on the doors and the sill. For the window, I don't think I will. So you see on here, that's all slag, that needs to come off. And I got a bloke called Norbert to do this. He charged me 100 quid because obviously I figured out that I couldn't do it with my, what's it called, MIG welder. He's done all of the front down here as well. So I got him to do the full length. He asked me whether I wanted it the full length and I said, yeah, please. Whereas the blokes that done the steels, so obviously this 6mm plate, they've done what? What's that, every 200mm? This is going to take obviously my Gable lens and then my glass over there. So I've got triple glazing. So it's probably about 200 kilograms altogether. So in theory, I should be able to stand on that, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's solid. That's done. I should have done that yesterday, come to think of it, because it needs to dry before I can put the 3x4 on. But it is what it is, I'm ending up here. So I was going to concentrate on the seal. I do need to get a little bit of angle grinding on the back of that steel. I'll wait a little bit longer so the dust doesn't stick to this. I've got a compatibility issue. So this seal doesn't really work with them bifolds. This bit here, this is where I need to fix it, okay? So that is separate from the drainage channel, yeah? So that's all good. Because we're gonna have a deck out there, I wanted to like not have a massive deck, maybe like 3 meters. And I don't want the doors taking up a metre worth of space. So these ones fold in. And that's the reason why I've been given that seal, but this one also opens inwards. You see this, okay? This is effectively the drainage channel because it's got the holes in. That is directly above the channel where I need to fix. So back to here, so that's where the drainage channel is in the doors. This is where I'm fixing. Now, if the water goes through the door frame into here, how's it meant to track over here and go in there? So I've already fixed it on that one. I'll show you how I'm doing it. So I've got this, a Dremel type tool with a little, so what I need to do is basically make holes or slots from this side over to this side. It's bloody dead, and it is bloody dead. And I had one more left to do. Look, that's what they look like. Can you see that slot? So I've had to go screw fix. I've bought a Titan, and it's lucky that I didn't get the and launch this over there against the wall, because I need this bit still. I'm clamped because it was bowing, but it does also bows in the middle just here. So I need to get the planer on it afterwards. So you can see it is lower. So the space from here to the top of this is 30mm. The stub seal, which is 100mm wide. So that's 25, so by the time I've got packers underneath, that's 30mm, so I've lost the seal, visually at least. And then above it, I've got another 40 mil until I hit the bead. So within 40 mil, I need to insulate this still, because obviously there's a cold bridge from this side to that side. I don't know what I'm going to insulate it with. I was thinking like the tile backer board. Is it Marmox board or something? Aerogel, maybe? Has anyone ever used that? I don't think I'll do the two lots of fire rated plasterboard on that bit. There's no point. I think that whole thing's stupid. If it's gonna melt your steels, you're already dead. These are roofing and cladding screws. So I'm gonna be using them up the top. I'll put in some around the sides as well. And I'm gonna put a few fixings in this to hold it in place. But I've got my Hilti gun, so I can fire this through. These are 62s, that should go through. And I bought the black caps as well, so these are the strongest ones. I think yellow is the weakest, red is the next one up. They're like gunpowder, basically. There we go. It worked. I mean, that took a while. It definitely took a while. It's quicker just to Hilti it. And now it's bloody dark. I was kind of like, I was waiting for this anyway. It should help me. I can get my laser out now. I need to get my seal in line with this steel. Steel. Tomorrow, Lou's bro just wants to try and do it in one day. I planned for 2 days and he's saying, can you do it in one day? So that's why I'm kind of like, I've been out here since like 8:45 this morning. I reckon it's probably going to be 9 until I finish. I need to stick down the DPM, then I can set my seal. I've got a power cut tomorrow. So I just remembered I was going to plane that tomorrow up there. I'm going to have to do it today, no? For fuck's sake. Morning. It's 8:15. I haven't been up this early working in ages. So last night I had to sort out the last of this. I got in 2 fixes, one at either end. They're not countersunk or anything. I just wanted to get the seal in place whilst the laser was on, whilst I could see exactly what the bloody hell was going on. Power cut's not until 9. So I've got time to use the planer to plane that down and to hoover all the dust off of the frames. Lucky enough, the power wasn't off until a little bit later, so I had a chance to plane this down. At the same time, Cole turned up. Here he is. And so he could hoover the frames. So that's all done. The power was still on at that point. We've also ground down some brackets for the actual top window. That's all treated up there as well. And then I thought I'd double check the actual seal to see whether it was level, and it wasn't level. So I used the expanding foam tape at the front and it tipped it backwards basically. So that wasn't going to be any good, because if any water went into the tracks, it was gonna, well, it wouldn't make it out the front through the weep holes and everything. So I've had to pull that expanding foam tape out. Now I'm just gonna do expanding foam in a can and silicone down the bottom now. I'll still use the expanded foam tape around the outside of the frame, and we built the platform. I can feel my shoulder wants to go.
I'm thinking about putting my belt on my back.
Right, so do you want to shift it all the way out before we then flip it that way?
No, I think we should just flip it down here.
That way?
That way. So when we go out, we can just tilt it back towards the house. Good?
Yeah.
So it's sort of going like this, isn't it? You alright?
Yeah.
Right, so we have to start tipping there. Right, to tip?
Yeah, put it down.
Yeah?
Hold on.
Right, we're with vertical.
Okay, I need to shift this out now. Are you ready?
Yep. You're alright, you'll swap.
It's fine.
Fine. Hold on.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh.
Come on.
They've got the wrong, they put the wrong spindle in.
Well, not long enough. It's not, is it? Because the
No,
locking.
the
Yeah.
pin's there. Cole's got COVID and a dodgy back. And I've got a bad shoulder. I'm pinching at the moment, but we're gonna go for a dry fit. Yeah. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
No,
Hold it
so
in place.
there's an upstand here. So it just pushes against that.
Against it, okay.
Yeah. Remind me before we put it in next time, you see this strip down here?
Yeah.
That needs to come off. We've got a nice gap here, and same the other side. So it's a little bit bigger because over 2.5 meters you need to do up to 15 mil instead of 10 mil. It's tight here. That's where that steel dipped down. So I've got 5 mil gap there. It looks like it bows up in the middle. Go. Right, hold it there a minute.
Hold it back. Definitely pulling, isn't it? When did I get that? Was that actually out of mine?
Yeah, that went relatively well. It's lined up at the top. I've kept it a few mil off the front of the steel, and then the actual wood, it comes out another couple of mil. So I've got roughly, say, 5 mil on top. So once that's plated with some aluminium black, then that will be quite thin. So it should look quite nice. I don't like the ones that are like really fat. You get a big fat one there. I've only put one fixing in there, and one fixing in the top. That's just literally into the wood. That's to keep it in place for now. It is bang on plumb, but this is parked for now. I'm going to sort this out. In the next few minutes, we get to see whether I've cocked up my measuring. It's ready. So yeah, I purposely bought these trestles because I knew I was going to be doing this. They're really good. They might be a link in the description for one. Anyway, I've put these little brackets on. See that? I put them on the sill first. I like to pre-drill my direct fixings on my aluminium frames, so that's what I've done there. Everything's ready. I have, because the sill's only fixed on one side, there's that little gap down the front, so just like there. Because I didn't want to put another fixing in the front, naturally I've used the expanding foam tape in between to stop that little bit of draft and coldness against here. So we put a strap on, we're going to go out there, lift it up, get it in, pack it, fix it, and then it's quarter to 6 at the moment, so I think we might only get that done and then tomorrow we can fit the glass.
And
Current status, it bloody fits. Right, gappage, we've got a good amount of gappage. I can get my fingers in there, but I haven't packed the bottom yet. We've got a slight issue. That one there, it's got a good gap, and then this other side over here, it twists like that.
how long the noise goes on for? Got more? I'm tempted just to push the rest of the box off.
Oh, this is the wrong size bit, isn't it? Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Come on.
That's closed up, isn't it?
I can't really tell from here, but I think so.
Yeah. Hola. Right, 9 o'clock. Who's up at 8:30, but I need to go to the toilet and stuff. It absolutely chucked it down last night that you wouldn't believe. And I remembered that the planer was in the wheelbarrow, so I had to come out in my pants and recover it. Right, a bit of water got down here. It's right, it can be dealt with later. So obviously the rain come in here and it's got in here. Like that. Cole's just mopped it up from here, so that helps. Because we're actually doing the windows. I have just fixed that one and the same in the other end. And that one there. And then I stopped because I thought it was getting too late, I was getting tired, I'd probably balled something out. So I'm just going to whack these screws in quickly. It's not having it, is it?
Just try another screw.
What was that? That knackered me out just doing one bloody screw.
One, two, three, lift. 2, 3, lift. Yeah.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, lift.
Stop it.
Can't help it.
Get off.
I got.
Okay.
One, two, three, lift.
Why does that one feel more awkward?
Maybe we didn't have the did we have the things closer in?
Are you leaning back too far?
No, I'm alright, I've got it.
Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told him his glass supplies shit. He said, oh really? Like, that's the best one I've ever used. I was like, yeah, well, not that good.
1, 2, 3, lift. You good?
Yeah. You best get your side in first before I squeeze
Yeah.
this, yeah. At the top, just go edge it in. Not going. It's wider, isn't it?
2, 3.
They just don't line up their glass, do they? Like, oh.
It's wide, isn't it? That middle pane is wider then. You feel this side as well. It's a fucking big old ridge.
Shall I slice it off before we take it up? That was an absolute nightmare, especially the last two. It was just slightly too big. I had to trim off the butyl on the edge of the actual glass, which was a bit of a nightmare. I had to take some of the thermal enhancement off and use the foam packer rods instead. But they're all in. The rubber gaskets are not in just yet, but I can do that by myself. Cole needs to get off. And I can do these bottom bits by myself as well. So as a thank you to Cole, everyone, my regulars, you need to follow Cole on Instagram. He's got a little decorating business. He's also a fireman, but on the side he does decorating. I will put a link in the description. It's just to get his page a bit more up there in terms of the algorithm. So obviously he wants more business. He's based around like southeast London, if anyone needs any decorating, and apparently he's a wizard. Quick fitment assessment. On either side I've got 8mm gap, and that was intentional because you're supposed to have a bigger gap on the edges. Apparently, because it's so wide, down the bottom I've got a 7mm gap there, and then down that end the steel dips, so that is about 11mm over there. Angle on this, it gets tighter at the top, but I've got, what's that, 16mm there, and then by the time I get to the top it's 11mm there. So I could have bumped this up a little bit more, but that would mean obviously I've got a bigger black thing in between both of them. But bearing in mind I'm going to have the cladding on the outside, it will cover up. So I suppose the cladding will probably come down to here, so I won't lose too much of the frame and it won't look weird, because the frame on the windows are not as thick as the doors. And on that side that is 14mm, and then it's 10 there. So after Cole went, I did sit down and enjoy a bit of the sun. I had a beer, sat in the sun for probably a couple of hours. I wanted to just, I did want to stop. I want to have a break because I've been so busy. I haven't even had time to like reply to comments on one of my YouTube videos. I've left it. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had so much to do. Obviously stuff that you haven't seen on here. So I was sitting there. I just don't feel like this is done. I don't know whether I feel comfortable with these being south facing. The wind comes this way. Whether I could just leave these packers in. I just want to, just in case it blows, and then that'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? And I kind of want to make it feel nice, as if I've done something properly. You know, when you stand back and you go, yeah, I've done that. So I'm going to put the gaskets in. I'm going to clean the windows. I've only had a small beer, and it was only like 2%, don't worry. I know I'm up on the scaffold, but it's fine, it's fine. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a day off, and then I'll get going again and sort out the rest of the shit that I need to do here. Hopefully I'll get this all dialed in and finished for next week, because I'll have to edit this and get it out. If you haven't already, make sure you've given me a thumbs up. I'll see you in a couple of days. All right. I need to ask your opinion on something. I've got all my gaskets in. I cleaned the windows inside the other day. Yesterday I had it off. Today I kind of had half a day off. I just cleaned the outside and took the stickers off. So I need to make some kind of decision what I'm going to cover this bit with. See the mullions? They're not centered directly above the doors. So I adjusted these, and it's so much so they phoned me up and said, are you absolutely sure that you're doing this? And I said, yeah. And I gave them the reason. They was like, all right, you know what you're doing. You see, the problem is the thickness of the door there, that's where it opens. It's fat there, and then it's thinner. So it throws off the bottom, in which case you can't line it up with the top. So that center one, depending on what company you go with, it's always going to be off. I think with Origin it was like 20mm off. With these, I think it's 25 or 30mm. Can you see how you just can't line it up? You can't do anything about that unless you offset your actual window. So I'd have to bring in this side down here and move that across, but that would just look weird up there. So what I've done to try and balance out these mullions and not change the look of these too much, this one is 856 wide, This one is 845 wide. This one is 855 wide, and that one is 846 wide. So between them, they're no more than 10 mil, like from that side to that side. So that one should match that one, and that one should match that one, but they're 10 mil difference. I just didn't want to throw it off too much, so I've done a fine, delicate balance between all of it to get it looking the best that I possibly could. And the reason why it's relevant to this, because you see that is, obviously this is the worst one, that's the one I couldn't change at all. If I was to get aluminium, it comes in 3 metre lengths, and this is 3.6 metres wide. So I'd have to do a join, and the natural place to do that is in the middle. Now if I'd done it in the middle, then do I do it in line with the doors there? Or do I do it in line with that? And I don't really, it's just going to bring attention to it. I don't really want to do that. I could get UPVC, like a soffit, and put it on there, like that. You can get it in this colour. This is RAL 9005. But I don't know whether it's just going to look weird, plastic against aluminium, or whether it'll look the same. Has anyone ever tried that? I asked on a Facebook group about this cladding trim bit, and a few of you might have seen it actually. There was a handful of people that said the window fitter should sort that out before they go. Good point actually. Oi mate. Yes dude. Are you gonna like finish this before you leave? Well, I thought you was doing it. What do you mean? Well, I'm you, aren't I? It looks like this is racked that way by 1 mil, possibly 2. Let's say 1.5 mil. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slide my pump bag in and loosen this off. I've got these packers ready. Go with these screws again. I still find that amazing. You see these ones there, these are the ones where their brackets had to go in for the brickies. They couldn't get these through in one go, so they're a different brand. I had to give them a drill bit to actually pilot it, but these ones smash straight through. I've put packers just on the edge here just to stop it going like that a little bit. There's still definitely bows that way, but it should be alright because that's probably the best place to have it rather than dipping that way. Here's the challenge then. These screws, these are 60 mil instead of 110 mil that I've already got and used. The clamping depth on these 31 mil, which in theory is fine, but these can only go through 12.5 mil of steel apparently. Now on here I have a 6 mil steel plate. This is a RHS, so that stands for rectangle hollow steel, and this is made out of 8 mil. So 6 and 8 is 14. I don't know whether these are going to go through on their own. One screw goes through fine, 14 mil, yeah. Last job of the day, I need to attach the frame to the sill. I'm not sure what size screws I need to use. I've done it once before, So we'll check the front door as it's open again. Just a word of warning. I pulled in obviously that corner, and then this is bowed out in the middle of it. Obviously I've siliconed it and then pushed it in, and then it's just kind of like, I assumed that it, because that end was close, that end was close. I didn't even check. It's just kind of like bowed a little bit. So I've just pulled this in with a couple of clamps. Whilst I screw this end, I still need to do it there because there's like a 2mm gap. Basically in the middle there was a 2mm gap, so I'm closing it up so it's less than 1mm, and then I'll screw it in. Lucky enough that LM 215 LM, that's quite flexible, so it's kind of squeezed a little bit in. Difficult bit with this, so I've chosen my screw. It's about 20mm long. So first I need to make sure that I'm not going to hit the other screw that's through the seal. So I'm going to do it about there. Then I need to pilot it. Then countersink. Obviously there can't be a hole into the seal from the drainage channel, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this in. And hope that that will seal the end of this screw when it goes in. I haven't been making much progress. I spent like 2 hours trying to look for this tape. Gets right on my nerves. I was getting so stressed. I was looking everywhere for it. I've tidied up as well, because the next thing I need to do is get the glass in. So I've got my glass lifter, but I don't fancy bringing the glass all the way from down there up here on the lifter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop it on my panel dolly, and then I'll wheel it down, stand it up over there, and then I'll get the glass lifter to get it in the door. These are 63 kilograms. So I know I can handle them because them ones were 68. But I did add Lou's help just to like get that last little bit in. But the doors are a little bit easier, apart from the one with the handle. And just in case I drop one of them, I've got spares over there. I don't want to use them, but I'll if I drop one, I might have to just for now until I order the right one. These are only got look at that, pigeons. There's only one back-to-back spacer bar in there, so they had to get them remade. No. Right, I'm correctly toe and heeled, and I should be putting in the thermal enhancement and the security packers, and on the doors I need to silica around the bottom. But I'm just going to work my way across and get everything in before I then come back and finish it off properly. I did actually have to watch part of my my video about how to install bifolds because I forgot. I'm just going to whack in these short gaskets just for the time being. I'll do exactly the same as I did on the other doors. So I'll work my way across, and then providing it's all fine, I'll take these out and seal it all up properly. So I'm just going to carry on, and then hopefully you won't see me till tomorrow. And if you see me before then, that means I've dropped one. We are fully but temporarily glazed because I still need to do all the gaskets and the thermal enhancement, etc. We do have a slight problem. That one opened fine. These ones, they was a little bit more difficult. I'll show you what the problem is. Right, it's the locking mechanism on this door. So that's the lock, yeah. Okay, and down here, can you see that bit? That hits on there. So we need 1 mil. 1 mil. Part of me is tempted to just get an angle grinder on that last little bit. But maybe I should just bump this up in that corner by 1 mil. I'm going to close it and lift it over, and then I'll measure outside again and I'll see which option I want to do. I lifted it over, I trapped the fingers. Oh my God, it's so hurt. They're still hurting now. Right, that reveal, that door is square. It's not sagging at all. And looking at that locking mechanism, the bolts, there's so much room at the top, but there's like nothing at the bottom. I reckon they've just put that in slightly too low. So it's not the door. I don't really want to pack it so it's out of square. So I'm going to grind the bottom bolt. So weird. Now I just need to sort that handle that's missing. Oosh. I had to clear everything out of the way for the money shot, even though I'm not finished yet. For all intents and purposes though, I am finished. Like, you would never tell that I'm not finished, would you? But I need to stop now. I should have stopped earlier really, because it's Lou's birthday. We're going out for a meal and I said I'd tidy up the lodge first, but I haven't done it yet. There we go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.